A very good day to everyone joining us today, and thank you for making the time to be here. In today's world of rapid digital transformation, change is not just inevitable, it's constant. But with every change, there comes a question: are we managing it, or is it managing us? Welcome to the episode 6 of our ServiceDesk Plus Masterclass 2025 series. I'm Kavya, a product expert at Manage Engine, and I'm thrilled to be your host for this session. We are here to dive into one of the most vital yet often underestimated areas of IT service management, change, and project. To implement how to execute it with confidence, structure, and minimal risk using Service Desk Plus is what's today's session motto. I'm very excited to walk you through a real world use case, practical configurations, and live implementation insights that you can take back to your organization. Now let's dive in and learn how to turn change into a competitive advantage and not a risk. So before we dive deeper into the capabilities and other Service Desk Plus enhancements, so here's something that you can truly elevate your experience with the product. We are offering a free one-on-one consultation session to help you get the most out of your current setup. In just 1 hour, you will receive a detailed analysis of your usage and customized list of recommendations tailored to your specific ITSM challenges. Simply scan the QR code to schedule a session. It's quick, easy, and completely free. So let me walk you through exactly what we'll be covering in today's session. First, we will explore how to configure essential change management attributes, things like change advisory board and defining distinct change and stages. Next, we will look at how to design change templates for various types of change, like whether it's a routine update, a standard change, or high priority, or an emergency as well. Then comes one of the most powerful capabilities, which is automatically how changes move through their life cycle from submission to cab review or any other stages like implementation and other reviews. And finally, we will discuss how to leverage project and release management to make sure change, specifically complex ones like infrastructure, overwhelms all the related doubt and in a structured and a most coordinated and in a risk-free manner. So before going deeper into the session, let's take a look at the edition comparison of Service Desk Plus. Service Desk Plus is available in three different editions, which is standard, professional, and enterprise, which are created to serve different level of organization needs. Now, standard, which has the default ITSM tools like incident management, visual ticket lifecycle builder, self-service portal, knowledge base, SLA management, and escalations that needs to be carried out. Moving on to the next one would be the professional, which will have all the configurations and the management that has been present in standard. And as an add-on, asset management will be included as well. Now, this includes asset loans, asset inventory reports, purchase, and contracts management. Now, here comes the hero of Service Desk Plus edition, which is the enterprise. Now, this includes IT Service Desk Plus, asset management, and as an add-on, we do have change, release, and project management. And adding on to this, we also provide CMDB. Now, let's move on to our session, which is change management in Service Desk Plus. Let's begin with a real world story from our fictional enterprise, Zirkle Life Sciences. Now, this is a global pharmaceutical, a crucial firm, recently faced a serious ransomware attack where attackers attempted to lock down access to critical business systems, demanding payment to restore access. Although the IT team successfully blocked the attack in time, their internal investigation revealed several security gaps like open ports, outdated firewall routes, and weak access controls. Now, in response, leadership pressured the security team to act quickly to launch a full scale infrastructure overhaul and immediately upgrade the firewall system. Now, while Zilka's intentions were right, the way they approached the project opened the door to a different set of challenges. First, the project involved multiple teams from network engineering to application team, compliance, and also external vendors. But there was no unified way to collaborate, and these teams weren't working in a sync. Second, the firewall upgrade. It wasn't just one big change. It involved a major standard and an emergency infrastructure changes happening simultaneously, but without any structured change control in place. This led to delays, confusions, and duplicated effort as well. And finally, Zilker's rush to implement everything during a high pressured quarter four made things worse, with no automated change and workflows or even approvals. So, which is why they experienced chaos at scale. And this is exactly where structured change and project management becomes not just helpful but absolutely essential. This brings us to the key takeaway of today's session, which would be speed alone doesn't guarantee success. Structure, visibility, and governance are what ensure change is delivered safely. So, what happens when change is rushed and unstructured? Here's how things played at Zilker. First, the team kicked off a massive infrastructure overhaul, implementing backup systems, auditing open ports, and rolling out to next gen firewalls across locations. At the same time, they were handling dozens of routine changes requests, updates, patches, and configurations, like all flowing in without prioritization or proper visibility. On top of that, an emergency change was initiated in parallel, which is adding even more pressure and complexity to an already chaotic environment. And then the worst case scenario, a major availability incident. Now, Zilker's core system like CRM and ERP and also database suddenly went offline as well. The incident response team was completely in the dark. They had no clarity on whether a change caused it or if so, which one. Now, this is the real impact of poor change governance, where the absence of control doesn't just slow down things, it puts the entire business at risk. This is where things reach a tipping point. So, with no structured change process in place, every digital system at Zilker went offline, including core services like email, databases, and internal applications. The IT team was left scrambling, like unable to pinpoint the root cause, even confirm whether a recent change has triggered the failure or the newly applied one. Meanwhile, critical functions like R&D, clinical trials, and regulatory compliance came to a complete standstill. And all of this stemmed from avoidable missteps, which is the firewall filtering rules were not tested in a staging environment, and the cab approval process didn't include key stakeholders such as compliance and infrastructure leads. This wasn't just a technical failure, like it was a process failure, and it is exactly what strong change governance is designed to prevent. Let's take a closer look at how all these issues are connected. Like it starts with the lack of unique change control. All changes, whether routine, major, or emergency, were treated the same without defining policies or workflows tailored to their risk level. Adding on to that, the use of siloed tools is different, which is the different tools across different teams. This means there was no visibility into change quick and peer progress as well. So parallel initiative, exhausting scenarios and other difficulties, like all these have been leaving the Zilker to a blind spot and duplicated efforts. Because of that disconnect, high impact changes weren't planned or scheduled properly. They were pushed through peak business hours, like without knowing what exactly has to be carried out. Now, this led to infrastructure risk and impact assessment. Like, no one was really asking why exactly this change has been implemented and what is the purpose behind this. With no unified ITSM platform or CMDB, there was minimal governance and no automatic enforcement of approvals or risk based restrictions. And finally, the changes moved straight into production without staging tests or quality gates. As a result, even minor errors had the potential to cause major outages. After everything, like everything Zilkers went through, the lesson was clear now, right? What they truly needed was a change management practice to build on an automated governance and a precise risk analysis, one that enforces approval, assesses impact upfront, and ensures no changes enters production without clear accountability. So it's not about like slowing down change, it's about making change safe, visible, and controlled. Now, this is what a healthy, well structured change process looks like. Let's walk through it using Zilker's firewall upgrade as an example. It starts with change submission, where the team records and clearly assess the head for the change, like why is it necessary and what are the expected benefits behind this. Next is risk assessment. This isn't just a checkbox. The team must identify and quantify the risk that the change poses to operations, security, or users. Then comes the planning, not just for role, but also for a clean backup plan if something goes wrong. For impact analysis tools like CMDB, help map dependencies so that team knows exactly which attributes and which users or the services that might get affected. Finally comes the change must be scheduled thoroughly, avoiding high impact periods like quarter end freezes. Now, this kind of structured flow ensures that every change is assessed, accountable, and designed with business continuity. Once the change is assessed and planned and scheduled, the next step is execution with control. First, we convene the CAB, bringing in all key stakeholders to review the plan and give formal approval. Now, this ensures that the business impact is fully understood and accepted by all the lead members. After the approval, the change moves into the staging phase where it's tested in a safe, non protection environment. Like this is where the gaps are caught early. Once staging is successful, it goes live in production and there is no outcomes or it can be flagged in case of any emergency that has been done immediately. After rollout, changes are bundled into a release deployed in coordination with other changes, not in isolation. Then comes the review part, a postmortem to identify lessons learned and feed insights back into the process. Finally, we make this change as a complete and move on to the next milestone in a broader project. So, which includes project development as well. Now, this kind of structured execution ensures not only success but repeatability even for high risk or enterprise scale change. To start with, let's look at how Zilker tailored their help desk to work smarter. The IT team customized change templates and forms to collect right data upfront, whether it's about onboarding a new user, reporting an outage, or requesting access. So, by aligning formal fields with actual business needs, they made sure technicians get all the context they need to act fast, no back and forth, and no missing information. So, now you might wonder what really sets apart a change, release, and a project, right? A change is any modification to your IT environment, like it could be a firewall upgrade or updating a patch or configuration tweak. While a release, on the other hand, is a bundle of related changes like deploying a new version of your application or rolling out a new feature. It focuses more on the deployment package and its delivery timeline. And then there is project, which is broader. It's strategic initiative like migrating your data center or onboarding a new tool, typically involving multiple releases, change cycles, like which often spreads across weeks or months to take this completed. And depending upon the each change, release, and project, we can configure change advisory board members to decide what has to be carried out in the change implementation and the stakeholders to approval. And we also do have an option to configure different closure codes to complete a change, release, and project. Now, let's see how we can configure and the existing customization present in ServiceDesk Plus. Navigate to Admin, Customization and Change Management. So when you navigate to this page, you will be able to view the existing customization options for a change to be carried out, which starts with Change Type. Now, since Zilker has been trying to upgrade a firewall as a change, this has been considered as a minor change and not like the seriousness was not considered between the technicians that led to the risk at minimal. So by including a proper change tab, those risks can be prevented. Now this is where change tab plays a role, like marking it as a major. Now the next one would be the risk, like what exactly and what exact impact that it would cause on the organization comes under risk, whether it's high, low, or medium. And the next one would be the reason for change. A firewall upgrade is a change which has been implemented from a milestone of one of the project. So the reason for this change can come under anything like security compliance or security upgrade or security enhancement. In case Zilker is trying to implement a change where it would like to deploy various OS patches, then that comes under security compliance and security enhancement as well. Now, moving on to the next one would be the change advisory board. Now, this includes a set of people from different departments to approve a specific change or template. So, I have created a cab member which includes security and network operations. Now, this would allow a people of members from certain security team to upgrade this change, which can be a chief information security officer, a security analyst, and a security engineer. And the next one would be the stage and status. As each change has its own stage and status to be configured, the subdivision of each stages can be configured here. In case if you would like to add new stages and status, you can just click on new change status and add it. And in case of notifying certain specific rules, you can just click on the rules to notify field. In case if this particular status have been reached in a change, then automatic notifications will be sent to the role configured here. And the next one would be change roles. So which includes cab member, change approver, change manager, the owner of the change, the requester who raises that particular change, and the implementer who will be carrying out all the tasks that has been assigned in a change, line manager, reviewer, shared role, and UAT owner. So if you'd like to create a new role for this change, you can just click on new and you can configure the change permissions that needs to be set for them. Now, moving on to the next one would be change configurations. So these are the existing configurations that you can manage implementing a change inside an organization, which includes certain specific criteria and certain set of options that needs to be done. Now, moving on to the next one would be project management. So similar to change management, project thus has its own types like business, whether it has to be implemented for business type or an infrastructure. Since firewall upgrade is a type which needs to be done in an infrastructure level, then this comes under a project which has the type as infrastructure. Now the next one would be the project status, so which is whether it's on open or on hold, closed or cancelled. And similar to change roles, we do have an option to configure project roles. So a project has a project management and the team members of the project and an administrator who will be carrying out certain set of rules and configurations, and then a team leader of the project. The next one would be the existing settings that needs to be done in a project, which includes schedule settings, cost settings, and the closure settings. So similar to change and project, we do have existing customizations of release, which is the stage and status. That includes you to have new release status as well. And the next one would be release roles, which is release manager. He's the one who oversees the release and process and ensures that the proper release has been carried out. The reviewer of the release, who will review whether this can be released in a short period of time or in a month or in a year as well. The QA manager and UAT owner, the one who owns the release environment, and as well others. Now the next would be the downtime tab. Since we are trying to release a project or release a change here, so there needs to be a downtime for certain specific reason, right? So you can just include the downtime which you need to configure inside an organization. For example, since firewall upgrade would need a major downtime, like a full shutdown of the complete process, then we can just choose this particular downtime while creating a release. As release, on the other hand, is bundle of related changes like deploying a new version of your application. Now, this deployment is majorly focused so that everything comes under the right path and the right time. So before we were discussing about the change customization and project customization fields, right? Since fields needs to be included in a template so that Zilko will be able to review and record and monitor what kind of changes have been done and what exact actions have been performed. The other plans for preventing the major impacts. So, to strengthen our change management process, we can start by laying the foundation. So, first we discussed like the difference between change, release, and projects. Once we had the clarity on types of changes and set up the right workflow, our next step was to make a request submission. So Zilka created custom templates tailored to each type of change from routine updates to emergency files. Now, these templates weren't just static forms, they were smart, dynamic, and built on drag and drop canvas as well. Now, let's try to build a change template, which will be helpful for Zilka. Navigate to admin, templates and forms, change template. So in order to create a new change template, you need to click on add change template. So let me walk you through an existing change template which I have created. So when you try to click on add new change template, you will have an option to provide the template name. Here you can, since Zilker is trying to upgrade the firewall across different sites, have provided a template name like upgrade to next gen firewall across all sites. And also you will have an option to set which exact workflow has to be applied to this template. So for here, this template follows the workflow network change oversight. Also, you have an option to configure whether this template can be marked as an emergency or it can be set as a default. Since this is a firewall upgrade, it's not an emergency now, but and also there is no need for setting it as a default one as well. So moving on to the next one would be the change details. Now here you will be able to view certain fields that has been customized in the change management, which includes change requester, the one who raises the request, site to where this requester belongs or where this change needs to be done, and group, like since we are trying to upgrade firewall, right? So firewall is related to the group of network and hardware. So now I have selected network here and the category and subcategory which needs to be filled and the items like since it's firewall, we need to select the items that needs to be done for upgrading a firewall inside every each machines and the impact, like what exact impact this might cause and the urgency level to complete this particular change and the priority this needs to be carried out. So these leads to the risk matrix of this change as well. So as you move down, you will be able to view other fields like stage and the status of the stage that has been linked to and the status comment that needs to be done for each status. Also, previously we saw that Zilker kind of like implemented its major firewall upgrade in its quarter end, which is very, very a critical time. So in order to make a note of where exactly this change needs to be done, you can make use of this field to schedule the start and end of so that this particular change can be carried out within the particular time slot that has been created during the template. And the services which needs to be affected. Since the firewall upgrade will affect hardware and the internet, and in case if it's kind of like affecting any other services, we can choose that here as well. So once filling all these details, you can just click on save and next. Also, you have an additional option here to drag and drop the existing fields that has been configured. In case if you would like to create new field, you can just click on add new field and then select the fields here. And the next tab would be change rules. Now this here will include line manager, reviewer, UAT owner, and the implementer and change approver for this particular template. Now, there is not only a firewall upgrade that can be carried out inside an organization. So firewall upgrade is one of the milestones that has been fetched from project. So there can be different changes that needs to be done inside an organization like a OS patch update or a complete security enhancement, right? So since this is related to firewall and network team, what I can do is I can just configure the line manager and reviewer from particular network team so that while trying to create a template, I don't need to manually go and select roles. So by implementing this change is directly redirected to that particular network team. Now, the next one would be the field inform rules, which comes under the automations of change management. So similar to request management, Change 2 has certain FAFR, so which is on form load, on field change, and on form submit. So, say for example, if a change has been created with risk at high and priority, with risk at high and impact at high, then that particular change needs to be carried out with a high priority need, right? So, what I can do is I can just create a rule, and so while form loading, when the risk is high and when the impact is high, I can just execute a script. So with the script, I can just set the priority as high by just loading the templates without even setting it manually. Now, this are the available fields which you can make use of the uh, field informers. So based on the fields, the script will be changing here. Now, this automation ensures that change can be carried out in a workflow manner where you don't need any manual inputs. So once done, since this change has been not, you can just save this and then you can go back to them. So this helps team to collect exactly the right context, risk levels. It doesn't affect any services or also rollback plans, which is very needed for a Zilker. Since templates lay the foundation, but it was the workflow and notification that brought the entire engine to life. So Zilker built dynamic workflows tailored to each change type, ensuring the right people were involved at every stage, whether it was a standard update or high risk infrastructure change. So alongside, context aware notification kept stakeholders informed in real time. There were no missed alerts and no last minute surprises. Now, this drastically reduced turnaround time and ensured accountability at every step. For Zilker, the implementation stage of it wasn't just an isolated activity, right? It was directly linked to a milestone within a larger, for example, deploying the new firewall system across all sites was a key phase in the security infrastructure project. But tying each major change to a project milestone, like there needs to be a process which needs to visualize and manage each stages and change so that there won't be any risk or any backup plans or any other things that might lead to its chaotic environment. So let's see how a workflow can be built inside ServiceDesk Plus. Navigate to admin, automation, workflows. So in order to create a new change workflow, you can just click on new workflow. And also we provide an option to copy the existing workflow as well. Let's take a look at the workflow which has been created for the change. So now here, you will be able to view 6 different nodes, which includes the stage, condition, switch, notification, approval level, and field update. Now, as every change, like it starts with submission and planning, right? So initially, the stage has been started with submission, and once the submission has been accepted, it will go for planning. Now here, like Zilka has been planning the firewall upgrade as a milestone, like one of the milestones from project. But since this firewall upgrade needs to be carried out by a network team approvals and a set of network related roles, right? So what I can do is, in case if the change owner, like the requester, like if the change owner or the requesters who is trying to raise a request is one of the member of network team, what I can do is I can simply accept the change and move it to the next stage, which is CAB evaluation. So instead of submitting it to the CAB approval team, so who's already a member of one of the CAB members of network and security operations, if I'm a security member, like I'm a chief information security, and I'm trying to raise a change request, there is no need for me to get the approval process from every other technicians. So I need to let know that one of the change has been created. So similar to that, I have implemented a condition here, so which has when the change owner is Vishali, who is the chief information security officer of network and security team. So when it has been raised by Vishali, the planning won't be submitted for the CAB approval process. So if this condition is satisfied as yes, then it will be directly approved and moved to the cap evaluation stage. So if this is not satisfied, then this needs to be carried out with an approval process here. So it just need to drag and drop an approval level. So here you will be able to set the name of the approval, and here you will be able to view a list of change roles that needs to be included, and also the org roles as well. Now you can just select the subject of this template so that a notification will be sent. And in case if you'd like to edit the message, we also provide edit HTML option to update your message based on your convenience. So once done, you can just click on save, and post cab evaluation, it has been leading to the next stage, which is implementation. So since the change has been reached as CAB evaluation process, I would like to set the CAB approval status approved without manually going and changing it. So here I can make use of the option switch where I can set the CAB approval status directly to approve without making any manual changes. So once the implementation has been completed, now the next stage would be the release. So after implementing every stage, the next one would be releasing the firewall upgrade to every UAT or the setup that the organization plans to do. So now the stage has been reached its maximum, so which is the release. Um, while releasing it, I would like to notify certain members that the change is going to be it's going to be released in a particular time of amount of time. So please review it and check if there is any modification that needs to be done. So in case if the one of the cab approval is not aware of the release process, what I can do is I can just notify them when this particular stage has been released. So I can just drag and drop the notification node here. So you have to select the notification name. Here I have created change review. So let me just show you how I have created this. So the notification name is change review. So I would like to notify the members of the security and network operations team and the change manager, letting them know that this particular change has reached its review stage. So please check what changes have been implemented in this. And in case if you'd like to modify anything, please let us know. So this is what the motto of this notification. I have tried editing this change template with HTML code from my side. So I'll just show you. You can just click on the edit HTML and you can paste the content from your software team so that the notification will be sent to the technicians with a more colorful and a more comprehensive way. So once the changes have been done, you can just click on save and choose the template and done. So after notifying this, after every stages, which is planning, implementing, CAB evaluation, and release, now the last stage would be close. So after reviewing it, the change has been closed. Now, these are the configurations which has been done to improve Zilker's security performance for implementing a change. And as you know, we provide 6 stages and 6 to 8 stages in change. So in case Zilker would like to implement only these stages in the change view, so we also have an option to manage this. So there will be 2 options, which includes show all stages and status, or in case if you like to view only the stages that have been configured inside the workflow, you can go with the second one. So click on apply and then save. Now, since the changes have been done, the workflow, the customization, and the automations have also been covered in this. Now, let's take a look how a change request is handled here. Now, this is an existing stage, which has been carried out in all the stages that have been configured in the workflow and in the template. Let's start with the submission process. So initially, the stage will be the submission, and note this has been implemented inside the workflow. So when you go to the submission stage, you will be able to view certain details, which is the properties of the change, like where exactly it belongs and the group, subcategory, and other items. And the next one would be the schedule, which includes the schedule start and schedule end time. And also it has an option which includes the created time and the completed time. Since it has been completed at July 23rd, so this is also included in it. And the task. So initially, while like upgrading a firewall, I need a detailed analysis of what exactly this change has to be done right. So this can be implemented as one of the tasks. An initial check. Since Zilker like tried to implement a firewall, but it failed to check what is impacting and what change this can cause risk and other impacts to an organization, I can create a detailed analysis of the change initially to prevent these. And so while implementing this change, I would like to notify a change manager so that who initially carried out this. So in case if he finds anything like which is not disrupting, which is causing major difficulties, um, I can just tag him here in the note and let him know that please look at this change implementation, and in case if you like to include any additional information or check for any impacts. And the next one would be the status command, so which is used to approve every status in initial change. So once the submission has been completed, moving on to the next one would be planning. Now here, planning, we kind of like discussed like Zilker missed its backup plan, right? So there were no backup plan or there were no rollout plan. So when the change failed, they had no idea what to do next. So during the planning of the change, it is essential for us to check what impact it's causing inside the organization and the rollout plan which needs to be done, so that everything falls under the part and nothing will be uh, if nothing will be in a risk manner or in a more difficult way. And the backup plan, so which is essential as well, in case if the security team is aware of what initial changes have been done, then they will be able to revert back in case if any failure has been done. And the checklist, like what exactly needs to be checked before implementing this as well. So the schedule and the task like which needs to be carried out in this particular stage, like identifying all the system requiring patches and assessing the existing assets which has these firewalls implemented, and testing the patches in staging environment to check for compatibility issues or any disruptions present, and as well as notes. So since this is in planning stage, you will have an option to associate problems and requests. So here's what I would like you to insist on listening to. So associations here like list problems and requests. Now take for an example, Zilker is trying to implement a firewall upgrade, so which is one of the milestones from project. So this is well known inside an organization who have access to change management and project management. But as an user, when I'm trying to access certain websites, I'm getting an error message like the firewall rules are prohibiting this. So what I as a user will do is I'll try to raise a request that I'm facing some issues with firewall. Now that particular user doesn't know that this issue is causing because of a change and a project implementation. So that is why we are implementing problems and requests in planning stage. So we do have an option to associate the existing request, like which has been created before implementing the change, or the request which has been caused due to this change. Say for an example, a firewall outage can lead to any mission or security patches to be like deployed in a complete hard black. And similar to the previous one, status commands. So once this stage has been completed, it will move to the next one, which is CAB evaluation. So now this we have been automatically configured in the workflow. So once planning stage has been completed, it will be automatically redirected to the next CAB evaluation phase. So after the CAB evaluation members approve this particular change, it will be moved to the next phase, which is the implementation. So now here, there is a difference between associations of present in planning and implementation. So let me explain this. So here you have an option to associate only project, while in planning you have an option to associate problems and requests. So this is where change plays a key role. Since planning is a stage where we will decide what exactly needs to be carried out inside an organization, while implementation is something which needs to be implemented immediately once these have been considered. So A firewall upgrade is a milestone which has been like redirected to from a particular project. Like it's one of the tasks from a project that has created a change, right? So that's the reason why implementation has only project in it and not change like a problem or a request. And also, you do have an option to view the workflow which we have configured for this change in parallel to this option. So, adding on to this one, as you can see below, you will be able to roles like view the roles which has been configured for this change and the notes that has been made in each change stages and the task that needs to be carried out for this change. So, in case if you would like to set a reminder like complete this particular status or change without failing this on weekends or the month end, so you can just set a reminder here. And the work logs that had been added by every technicians in each change stages and status. And moving on to the next one would be the approval summary of what exactly have been carried out in the CAB evaluation phase. So, and every stage. And the next one would be the conversations, like which has been carried out inside this change, as well as the system notifications which has been sent to other approvers, technicians, and users. So, like request, we do also record what exactly have been carried out and the entire change by the history tab. So, in short, we also have like providing an association tab here. So, which lists the request that has been associated to this change and the request which has been created because of this change, associated problems to find the root cause behind the request, projects, and release. So, while speaking of implementation, so this implementation stage has been created because of one of the milestone of project, right? So, before we wrap up, let's take a moment to talk about project management because in reality, change doesn't happen in isolation. At Zilcom, every major change like upgrading the firewall, it was like a part of a broader change, like broader project management involving multiple items, milestones, and dependencies. So by using the project management module in ServiceDesk Plus, they track timelines using Gantt views and document critical events for project like milestones and plan, manage, and check and assigning each task to every technicians and the project members available in it. So by linking change directly to project milestone, it just like creates a bridge between strategic changes that needs to be done and a periodic timeline based implementation that needs to be carried out in an organization. So let's see how a project is carried out. So since we have reached the implementation stage, now this is linked to a project. Now let's navigate to that project. Similar to change, we do have an option to configure templates for project. So for configuring project templates, navigate to admin, templates and from, and project templates. So you can just click on new to add a new project template. Let's take a look at the existing one. Now this has been created to implement critical security upgrades to enhance the organizational needs and also including patches like OS and firewall upgrade and compliance improvements as well. Now this includes the details like the project types since this is an infrastructure type. So we are selecting infrastructure here and the estimated hours to be completed and the priority as well as the status. The next one would be the milestone. So this is like an event which needs to be carried out in the entire project. So each event has its own actions that needs to be performed. That is where task play role. So each milestone has its own task to be completed in a scheduled manner so that every event arises and finishes in a particular time slot. And the next one would be the members. So since like patching and upgrade and compliance improvements all comes under different teams, which includes network, security, and hardware, what I can do is I can just group all these members as project members here and then like assigning different tasks. So like patching OS patch upgrade can be done at security team, like network team, and the firewall upgrade can be done as well as by the network team. And the compliance improvements, like these need to be monitored by the security team. So by listing all the members here and assigning tasks, now this is where a complete, like a full pack of what exactly a project can be implemented and done in a particular timeline. Now let's take a look at the existing project which led to a change. So implementing critical security upgrades. Now this has been created as a project in Zilker. So it has a timeline like a due by date of September 26 and the left days would be 57 days. So it kind of has six milestones. Wait, the six milestone has 13 tasks associated to it. So when you open the project here, you will have an option to view what exactly this change, like this project has been associated to a change. Like since we have like reviewed previously about the change of upgrading the firewall to next gen, so it shows here the associated change and the project details like the type, schedule, start and end as well, and when it is created, the estimated hours it needs to be completed with, and the cost, like what exactly this project would be uh, expected to be in implemented in organization, and who exactly requested this and created. And the next step would include, like I said, there will be events. So there will be events and actions. So events are the ones that is leading to creation of actions. So implementing a firewall is just an event, but before that, there will be a lot of organization resilience and patching, and as well as compliance improvement and security upgrades, right? So which includes milestone like project initiation and scope finalization, like discovering what kind of asserts and patch gap analysis that needs to be implemented, patch testing, and upgrading the firewall, exactly like improving the firewall rules and set of regulations, and enterprise patch deployment, like implementing it in UAT environments, and the last one would be audit documentation. Now these are different events, and these events has its own specific actions that needs to be done, so which is task. So in task, you have an option to create a new task to for like assign for this existing project, or a quick add. You can just like enter what exactly needs to be done and the owner here. And you do also have an option to associate the existing task here. So if you'd like to review the dependencies between the task, milestone, and the project, you can just click on this dependency. As you can see, different set of actions have been linked to different set of events that has been linked to a project. So now the next one would be the timesheet. So since Zilker was able to find the risk analysis, like it was able to find that this change has caused this, but they don't know who exactly has done it, right? So we need to monitor every changes and every actions that has been performed by each technicians inside the organization. So in order to like make a note of what exactly have been carried out, we are providing an option timesheet where it will show the work logs and the tasks that has been carried out by each technicians and the time spent, like how much a technician is working on his own task and milestone. And also you can have an option to enter the cost details as well. So like I said, so a project of like enhancing the security compliance inside an organization doesn't involve only one group. It involves network, security, and hardware. We have an option to include members here. So in case if you'd like to add another member of any other group, you can just click on add and associate a member here. Now the next one would be the Gantt view. So here it will show you a relationship of members and tasks. And also, if you would like to change the view, you can just click on this drop down and task. So now here it will show you a list of tasks and the members and technicians who is associated to it. So if I would like to add a work log here, so I don't need to go to that task tab and add. So you can just hover your mouse here and click on add work log. So in case the administrator have completed certain tasks in this particular project, like reviewing the documentation, the administrator can like specify the time taken which has been completed to reviewing it, and the description and the work log type, like so analysis. And he can just click on save, like the start time and the end time. So once done, so it will also show you like what exactly have been carried out. In case if you like to export this and submit to your project manager, you can make use of this option, export as PDF as well. And the next one would be the resource management. So similar to the resource management present in home, which lists all of the tasks associated to a request, the resource management and project will include a set of tasks and the technicians who are associated to it. So in case if you like to associate this particular task to another technician and feel like how it has been like managing more than three tasks, you can just drag this task and drop here. Now this works as a magic. Now the next one would be comment, so which is similar to stage. Like if I would like to let a technician or a project manager to know this has been implemented, I can just tag them here and let them know. And the next one would be associations. So change has an option to associate request, problem in its planning stage, and project in its implementation stage. Now this project here has an option to associate request, change, and release. So, and moving on to the next one would be the individual settings of this project, which is the schedule settings and the cost settings that needs to be carried out, and the closure settings, whether this project can be closed by a certain period of time or when a particular status has been reached. And the history tab, so which will include all the details that has been carried out in every each stage and every each task and milestones. So now in associations, we have seen change, right? So since the implementation have been completed in stage, so which has been implemented in this particular project. Now the next one would be the release. So the release members, like the release manager, is planning to implement the stage and would like to release it in all organizations, like except for particular UATs. So for that, release management plays a key role here. So to configure release template, you can just navigate to admin, release templates. So you can just click on new release template here. So I've created a release template which is firewall security enhancement release plan. So you can select the type like general or emergency, and which includes stage, status, as well as and the urgency, risk, and impact that needs to be done. So the priority, whether this needs to be immediately released, because there will be certain outages due to this firewall rules implementation, and the category, subcategory items. So and the CIs which has been involved in it. So they can be certain firewall, like the firewall rules can be implemented in certain assets, so that those CIs can be selected here, and you can just click on save. And the next one would be the roles, which is release manager, release requester, release engineer, who will be like implementing this as well. The development head, who needs to like overview what change, like what release this needs to be done. And the QA manager to test all the possible cases that can lead to a misrep. Release reviewer, UAT owner. So once the changes have been done, the release template is ready. Now let's see how release is created. So similar to change, release has its own workflow. Now this workflow is associated to a general workflow, which includes the same set of stages and status included in the release customization model. And once all these have been done, we can proceed with closure. Now that's it of release management. Let's take a quick recap of what we covered today. So we began with a real-time world example from Zilker. So where rushed firewall upgrade led to a major outage, and due to the lack of structured control, they led a lot of risk analysis. We then explored how implementing a governance like first change management practice with proper risk assessment and CAB approvals can be like prevent certain incidents. We looked at how Zilker customized their help desk and templates to collect the right information at the submission stage. Then we walked through how they built visual workflows and automated approvals to guide every change through its life cycle. We saw how changes user try to project milestone as well, like allowing for a better coordination and scheduling and tracking across teams. And finally, we emphasize the improvement of post implementation reviews, like feeding these lessons learned back into the systems for continuous improvement. So, altogether, This structured approach helps Zilker transform the change process from reactive to a reliable, and you can do the same thing using ServiceDesk Plus based on your convenience. We appreciate your patience and thanks for sharing all your valuable questions. We will make a note of all this and we will try our best to answer this as well. Thanks for your time and have a great day.